The fog. It clung to Silver Falls State Park like a shroud covering the moon. So thick it muted the roar of the South Falls. Ethan, a casual hiker from Silverton, adjusted his headlamp. The beam strained to penetrate the deep, dark, dense mist. He was fulfilling the late-night urge to clear his head after a long week. A feeling that was becoming all too familiar to him. Lately, work and life had been pressing down on him, making him feel like he was constantly struggling to keep his head above water. The trails were his sanctuary. But tonight they felt different. Too quiet, too narrow. The dense fog made the trail feel claustrophobic, like he was in a corridor with no end in sight. He'd chosen the Maple Ridge Trail, a 2.6-mile loop he knew by heart, figuring it'd be a quick escape. His boots crunched on damp leaves, the only sound, beyond his shallow breath. The air was heavy and laced with pine, and something much sharper. Like wet earth. Earth turned wrong. Ethan shook it off. The fog always plays tricks. As he passed the junction where the trail dipped towards the North Falls, a prickle ran up his neck. He stopped, scanning the trees slowly. Nothing but shadows and the faint drip of water from unseen branches.
Get a grip!
He muttered, tugging his jacket tighter. He kept moving faster. Now the trail narrowed as it slithered through the towering Douglas firs. That's when he heard it, a soft snap, like a twig breaking underfoot, somewhere to his left. He froze, headlamp sweeping the fog. The beam caught only trunks and ferns. Their edges blurred into gray. Probably a deer, or maybe a raccoon? The falls are alive at night. Nothing sinister about that. He started again. But the feeling grew of eyes boring into his back. Another snap. This time closer behind him. Ethan spun around. Heart thumping.
Hello!
No answer. Just the creak of branches swaying in a breeze. His light darted across the trail, catching a flicker of a tall, thin shadow sliding behind a tree. He blinked, and it was gone.
Screw this.
He picked up his pace. The trail curved towards the upper North Falls, its distant rumble of faint comfort. But the snaps kept coming. To his right, his left, now behind. Always just out of reach. He swung his headlamp wildly, cursing its feeble glow. It was at that moment he remembered a story his grandfather told him. Several years ago, when Silverton was just mills and mud, folks spoke of a creature, the Hidebehind. It was rumored to stalk loggers, always slipping in and out of sight. Ethan had never taken the story seriously. He had even laughed it off when he was a kid. But not tonight. Ethan's foot caught a root and he stumbled, catching himself on a moss-slick trunk. A low rustle came from behind. Too deliberate, too heavy, for a small creature. He whipped around and for a split second his light snagged something. A gaunt silhouette, in darkness, ducking behind a cedar. Ethan's heart was pounding so fast he felt like it was going to explode.
This isn't funny!
The forest devoured his words. Ethan broke into a jog. The trail's incline burning his calves. The snaps were relentless, keeping pace with him, weaving through the trees. He didn't dare look back. Didn't want to see that shadow again, or worse, see nothing at all. The Hidebehind, Grandpa had said, didn't just follow, it waited. For what, he had never explained. The trail opened to a clearing near the North Falls overlook. The cascades mixing with the fog. Ethan's lungs burned as he stopped, hands on knees, scanning the tree line. The headlamp flickered, then steadied.
Come on! Come on! Show yourself!
Jason half hoped he would see a coyote trot out of the fog. A branch snapped, sharp, and close just beyond the clearing's edge. His light swung up and caught movement of a black shape, slithering behind a stump. Too fast, too wrong. At that moment Ethan bolted, sprinting the final stretch towards the trailhead parking lot where his truck waited for him. The snaps pursued him, mocking his strides. He fumbled for his keys, the fog parting just enough to reveal his beat-up Ford. He got his door unlocked and threw himself inside, slamming the door and locking it. Chest heaving, the headlamp still on as it lit up the cab in a sickly glow. He sat there staring into the mist waiting for something to emerge. Nothing did. After what felt like hours, he started the engine, the rumble grounding him. As he pulled onto Highway 214, he glanced in the rearview mirror. The fog was too thick to see anything, but he could have sworn, just for a heartbeat, that a shadow stood at the lot's edge, tall and still, watching him. Back in Silverton, Ethan didn't tell anyone about his night, not his buddies at the brewery, not his mom when she asked why he looked so pale. He stopped hiking alone at night, and he never went back to Maple Ridge. The locals still talk about the strange occurrences at Silver Falls. About the old oak stump, that's at the museum, a place where the Calapooya once traded, and how something older than the town might still linger in the fog, slipping behind the trees, waiting for someone to look just a little bit too long.